Now, welcome to Let's Talk Some Andor, Episode 4, which means if you haven't seen Episode 4, there's going to be some spoilers, and you might want to click away and come back after you have seen it. But what we're going to be doing here is kind of discussing some of the comments left on the review over on the other channel, and just kind of giving our own thoughts, and Naboo's thoughts as well. She hasn't chimed in on Episode 4 quite yet.
I have thoughts.
I'm sure you do. So let's dive right into it with the top-rated comment.
All right, top-rated comment is coming from Jeremy Davin. The world building in this episode was incredible. I loved seeing more of the inner politics of the ISB. The different motivations and cutthroatness of the officers was a joy to watch. I actually felt bad for Karn. He just wanted to make something of himself and make his mother proud. The new blonde ISB lady, Deidre, seems like a strong character that happens to be female, done right. Her drive to succeed is palpable. I was hooked when Mon Mothma visited Luthen in his shop, not just for all the Easter eggs, but for the unease they had over spies and all the way they hid the nature of their conversation from Mon's driver. You can really feel they're risking everything to start the rebellion and fight the Empire, and their acting was absolutely on point. I liked Cassian's dynamic with his new group, the world building of having them do their mission due to the planet moving into some stardust causing a planetary light show, a la the Northern Lights, is very cool. And the multi-horned sheep felt very Star Wars-y to me as well. Also, Starkiller. God, I hope they actually bring him back into the canon, OP and all, and don't leave it as just an Easter egg. Overall, amazing setup episode that I don't doubt will have an amazing payoff.
Whoa, well said. I think
said.
we're done here, right? That wraps it up.
I agree with the
I agree with the comment, and thanks for watching.
Yeah. I really did enjoy seeing the inner workings of the ISB. I mean, their job is to, be sneaky and root around and find, conspiracies and stuff. And they're so dedicated to their jobs, they look for it in each other in the office.
I know.
As ways to pull the wool over each other and get ahead. It was crazy and very cool to see.
Yeah, I really liked Deidre so far. Mm-hmm. And I know we've talked about how Deidre is supposedly, going to be showing misogyny in the Empire. And, not only did I not get that, but it, kind of explains why some of them didn't like her. She comes from,
Enforcement.
Yeah, she's probably kind of more on the ground. She's probably maybe comes from being a trooper or, an officer somewhere else. I don't know what the story is. I don't know that we'll get it. But, they seem to be leery of her because she doesn't,
she's
you don't belong
really
here.
One of them.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not because she's a woman, it's
just because she just comes from somewhere else, yes.
Yes. And maybe they can already sense her cutthroat nature.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we did in the first 10 seconds
of
her
talking. She let us know.
You can tell she is, she's a B word
right.
And in a good way, though.
I am so psyched that we're getting so much intrigue. It's beyond just Cassian following orders and becoming a spy. All of that intrigue on Coruscant is amazing.
Yeah. No, it was a glorious episode. And as I pointed out in my review, not a shred of action. There was no action in this episode, and you're not left wanting it.
No, I'm perfectly satisfied with what I was given.
Yeah, and I think he makes a good point about Serial. Serial Karn, he didn't do anything wrong. That's the funny thing about him. Mm-hmm. I didn't like him right away just because kind of his attitude and his, he rubs you the wrong way, which is, I think he's supposed to. Mm-hmm. But he was just looking for a murderer.
He was trying to do his job correctly.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't have a job.
No, he's
now unemployed.
Him and Deidre are getting together.
Right.
In a work atmosphere, of course.
Well, absolutely, because he has information she wants.
Yes, she is going to hunt him down, and then
he is going to blames everything that's gone wrong on Andor.
Yes.
So that will explain his obsession. It's very smart. Everything.
It's so nice to say that about Star Wars, isn't it? That
it's detailed and smart, and they're not all running around making stupid decisions.
Yes. Yeah,
or decisions you wouldn't believe that they would do.
That is the best part of the Empire. So often, the Empire just makes dumb decisions, or the bad guys in any movie. It doesn't have to be Star Wars or series, whatever it is. They make dumb decisions, and the good guys end up winning. I hate to say it because I love the show, but Rebels is a great example of the Empire just being dumb, and the Rebels win. But again, it's more of a kid's show. I can understand it there, but in something like this, wow, you really feel like the Empire is frightening.
Mm-hmm. Right, let's move on to our next comment. It comes from Matthias M. Fantastic episode. Really liked the portrayal of Mon Mothma. She's anxious. There's trouble in her marriage. She hasn't figured everything out. It felt real, and I can't wait to see where her story goes from there. The ISB stuff was great as well. I'm willing to ignore the fact that they have 2 agents working on a relatively small incident on an insignificant planet. The interpersonal conflict makes up for that. Only criticism? Is it too much to ask for one alien protagonist?
No, it's not. And yet
it is not too much to ask for.
No. That is the one kind of sad part so far. And Rogue One was the same way. Can we just get like an alien main character? I mean, I guess Ahsoka will count. When she gets her own show here in
someday,
hopefully soon-ish.
Well, here's a criticism from me then. Seeing the kind of caliber actress that Mon Mothma's Genevieve O'Reilly is, I think she was incredibly underused in the prequels.
Well, yeah, but
I know
there are deleted scenes though.
I know. I'm just saying, from what I've seen out of her already, I'm disappointed that she didn't get those scenes into the actual movie because she is great. She's wonderful in this.
I mean, there was so much more you could, and I don't mean that as a complaint or as a negative. Like there was so much more you could really go into in the prequel. That's why Clone Wars is good, right? Because there's so much there. It's so ripe for development and just exploration. And I mean, even the Clone Wars, I think, scratches the surface of some of the stories that we could get into in the Clone Wars type era. I mean, and Genevieve O'Reilly, yeah, she's been fantastic as Mothma. Everybody is so well cast. Everybody is smart. Every character is well written. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to watch Star Wars and go, this is just quality.
Our next comment comes from Evan Burns. Honestly, character interactions are more engaging than any normal action set piece could be. In a lot of the Marvel shows, in some of the Star Wars shows, I find myself glazing over during any action scene that isn't quick. I know that isn't everyone's taste, but I really like some nice character interaction in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, what is action without
context?
Setup, yeah.
Exactly. You can't have a great invested action sequence when you're not invested in the characters and their relationships and interactions between each other.
Yeah, if you don't think a character is going to die, if you know a character essentially has plot armor and you put them through this cool action sequence, it's like, well, they're not going to die, right? So what is even the point of this right now? Not that you can't just enjoy action for the spectacle. Certainly you can. I'm not, trying to imply there aren't cool looking lightsaber battles and space battles that, maybe don't have incredible stakes because we do know how they're going to turn out again. But yeah, character interactions make everything. It makes the story.
Without knowing seeing all those interactions between Anakin and Obi-Wan during the training years and the early prequels, would we care so much about their fight in their big duel of the fates, battle of the heroes?
Yeah.
Would we care if we didn't have such a depth of story and understanding of these two men?
Well, yeah, if it just started with that, if that was the whole thing, you're like, well, that was cool, but like, who are these guys?
Action for action's sake, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know Star Wars fans are going to know them, but, not everybody who watches the prequels is going to know these characters. You can't just assume you can just throw some lightsabers around and that it's going to be cool and everybody's going to love it. So, yeah, it's all about character interaction, in my opinion.
Yeah, character interaction, because it teaches you not just about their relationship, but more about themselves.
Yeah, and how they will treat each other. Like, that's how you really get to know a character, is like what they say versus what they do a lot of the times, right? Like, how do they react to this character versus this one? And how do they act differently? Like sometimes, Luthen Rail is a good example. Like, he puts on his facade when he's, the art dealer or whatever you want to call him. And, you see how he gets angry sometimes too. He yelled at Val at one point, like, look at me when I'm talking. Like, he's an intense dude, and yet he can pull off this, different attitude depending on who he's talking to.
Oh,
and
yes.
He can lure in, he can reel in Andor. And
I can't wait to hear his story. I need to hear more of who he is.
Yeah.
Because did he start as this art dealer, or is that entirely a front?
I want to believe he has some sort of...
Where's his starting point? Why is he so invested in this fight?
Yes, that's what I want to know.
This is what we're waiting for. And just seeing the slow build to finding out, seeing who he's pretending to be, who he is, this is all going to lead to something amazing when we actually see what happened to him.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to him.
It makes us really care.
I'm going to assume that the dealing has become a front now, but I think it has meaning to him. He clearly knows his stuff, right? Absolutely. He might be more of a shady guy who's gone around the galaxy collecting things, selling things, but now become legit and using that as a front because, I think that mask, the mask is him with the being a nice, friendly shop owner, whereas the guy who will yell at people and is against the Empire is the real Luthen.
All right, our next comment comes from Klaus Gell. Luthen Rail seems to only play the artifact dealer. he puts on a wig to portray him. I think the archaeology angle is probably just a cover for his actual operations.
Well, I guess that's what happened when you put random comments selections and
I didn't put them in any sort of order.
I know. Well, we pick some intentionally, and then we'll kind of randomly pick others, just to, just everybody gets a chance to get read in the video or whatever. And this is kind of, you do put them in random order, so we kind of just talked about that. And yeah, I do agree. It's the mask. He may have once been legit and gone awry, or who knows. But I do think, just the way he was talking about, the necklace that he gives Cassian, and he's like, this is more valuable to me than the 50K credits. It'll always be more valuable. And, there are some cool Easter eggs with that as well. But I think he has a deep knowledge. I think he has a care for history and all of these things. So I don't think it's like totally a front that he knows nothing about antiquities. I think it's just...
It's become his front.
It's become his front, yes.
I wonder if that's where his love, his rebellion is coming from. Was he out excursioning? Maybe those people who gave him that crystal, maybe he was out there and their tribe or group or
was destroyed,
was wiped out by the Empire, maybe even before his own eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a...
And it just awakened him to go, oh my, look at what they're doing. These people meant something to me. They gave me this valuable gift, and who knows? I mean, I'm spitballing.
Yeah, even if it's not the people, he, assuming he does care about all of these things about history, and, whether he's selling them or whatever he's doing, whether he's a legit guy or not, or started that way. I mean, he's probably seeing the Empire going around destroying Jedi temples, destroying other, they're trying to wipe, the memory of the Jedi out of the galaxy. That might not sit well with Luthen, whether because he has some kind of moral compass or because he makes a lot of money selling Jedi artifacts. Who knows?
Our next comment is from Shadow Sentry. This is probably the weirdest way I've praised a movie or show, but I really like how real it feels. The winds howling, the ISB conversation echoing in the room, the sounds of footsteps in the hallway, they all make it seem as these are real places. Plus, I really enjoy the multiple perspective method being used here, with Luthen as sort of connective tissue between Andor himself and what's going on Coruscant. We've seen this storytelling method used everywhere, ranging in quality from Rings of Power to Game of Thrones, and I think they've done a great job here so far.
I think it's interesting he brings up the sound, because I too, when Mon Mothma was walking in her house or home, whatever, or apartment, the footsteps, for some reason that really stuck out to me, how that
it's real. You will hear people walking across.
I know. I feel like we miss those little
grounded.
Things. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times in Star Wars we miss the little things in favor of the big things, and that's another thing I'm loving. They're not overlooking the little things for the most part. I know people have some issues with some of the weapons looking too,
those
earthly,
are too real too.
But exactly. But it's the little things. It's the background details. It's the footsteps. It's all of these little things. Yeah, just make it feel so much more real.
Mm-hmm. Next comment is from Simon Yesh. The complaints that people have been saying, I get, but personally I'm loving the show. It is different and it takes its time, and I dig that. I feel like the first 3 episodes is an opening scene, and now it feels like the curtain is slowly revealing a larger picture. Between the politics of the galaxy, seeing Coruscant, the ISB, and the slow burn, I'm loving the show.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I love the slow burn. I love, building instead of just, like we were talking about before, instead of just throwing action out there because they don't trust you to actually watch something that has a little more, depth to it, that it's character. It's totally character driven. It's not even about getting to the next, action piece. Because I feel like that's how, or action set piece. I feel like that's how filmmakers oftentimes make movies these days. It's like, okay, how can I get to my next big set piece? I want to get to this action piece. Oh, I guess I can do 5 minutes of this and get there. No, it's about the story first here, and I'm digging it. I'm digging it so much.
Good. Let's move on to the next comment. Dr. Pibb. Dr. P1BB, but I'm thinking of my favorite soda, Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb, he's got his
degree,
PhD, yeah.
As someone who disliked the idea of making the show from the beginning, I have been pleasantly surprised so far. For me, one thing that always bothered me was the lack of insight into the Empire, and now we're starting to get it.
Yeah, just that one scene of them, and it's, we usually see kind of like the top-down approach from the Empire, right? We usually see the big wigs and kind of ordering the little guys around. Now we're kind of getting that mid-tier, and we're getting even the grunts and how they kind of, the low security, local security force and how they operate, and the next step above them, and it's cool to see that. It's cool to actually feel like this is a real organization instead of just this giant war machine that just kind of always how it's been portrayed and everything else. Outside of the EU and other I'm not saying the EU doesn't go into these things and, books don't go into these things, but in actual, in live action, it's nice to see this.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Next comment we've got is from Mark Ybarra. While there weren't any blasters, lightsabers, or explosion, the tension was palpable, conveyed through superb acting. I'm really enjoying this series. I can't believe I'm watching something from Disney Star Wars.
I can't believe I'm loving something from Disney Star Wars. I'm loving it, to go with our McDonald's recent theme here. No, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've actually liked a lot of Disney Star Wars, to be completely fair. Mandalorian's good, Rebels is good, some of the books and comics are good. There's been good stuff in Disney Star Wars, but I think the bad... they get the things that they really need to get right, they get wrong. Like the sequels, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But no, what I loved about this episode is it made a TIE fighter feel menacing again. Like, when's the last time, I talked about this in our voice chat the other night. Like, when's the last time you saw a TIE fighter and like, oh God, that's scary. Like a TIE fighter is, you know what I mean?
Right.
These things have become so, casual and normal and, that they've lost their fear. But one TIE fighter streaking across the sky is terrible. Because it's like one of our first, glimpses at the real Empire for our heroes. That's the first time they're like really seeing the actual Empire. And they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified of the Empire. From Mon Mothma plotting behind the scenes to the the men and women on the ground. They're terrified of the Empire, as they should be.
Right. Armani V says, I also enjoy how the women are written on this show so far. They're collaborative, real human beings and don't exist solely to show up the men. I mean, so far all the characters have shown a level of competence that I've stopped expecting most characters to have. So it's refreshing to see well-written characters in shows again. It's also exciting to see the Star Wars universe is more than just a battlefield. There's art, culture, fashion, luxury cars, interior design, and fancy dinner parties. I never thought I'd crave to see those things in Star Wars, but it's nice to feel this is a real place.
Yeah, it's all the little details that make it feel real.
The devil's in the details is what they say, right?
It's like I said before a couple minutes ago. Sometimes I feel like they focus so much on the bigger things that they let the little things slide. And going along with that, all the characters are well written. Like, it's so annoying to sometimes watch, let's go there, to watch something like She-Hulk, and you can just feel like they're trying to make a point about this or that. So far, I know we've heard things from some of the actors and stuff. So far, it doesn't feel like there's no, like, trying to make a point about anything other than to be a good Star Wars show.
That's all you have to be.
That's all you have to be. Like, thoroughly entertained. I don't need to be lectured about something. Like, who doesn't believe women and men should be equal today? Like, who doesn't? Like, seriously, come on. I don't need that in my Star Wars, because any decent person already believes it, and any not decent person isn't going to watch Star Wars and change their mind about it.
A well-written character doesn't focus on what gender they are.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
I don't go through my day constantly reminding myself I'm a woman and what does that mean.
No, I do that for you. I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, most people, men, women...
We're all people,
all
right?
All of us.
I don't care
everybody.
I don't care what color you are, what
most people
gender,
who don't go through our lives
yeah.
constantly going, okay, I am a this is how I have to behave to be social. No, you just are yourself.
Just be you.
And
that used to be
people will accept you or not accept you, and
yeah, I swear that
if
was
they
the
don't accept
message.
you, they aren't your friends.
That's kind of the message I always got growing up as a kid. It was like, be you, and if somebody doesn't like you, screw them. That's kind of
right.
I mean, that's how I was raised.
There are other people who will accept you and love you for
find the people who actually love you.
Are. Don't change for people. Find the people who like you for you.
I know we're going way off topic, but
Sorry.
I fully believe that. Be you, and if somebody doesn't like you, tough.
Let's move on.
Who cares? Find the people.
Yeah.
Find those few people in life who really love you for you and enjoy them. That is what I do in life, and I found thousands of other people who I really enjoy talking to on the internet too in these videos. Find people you have stuff in common with. Enjoy it. Share it.
Talk to people.
Yeah. Find the good in life. Not always focus on all the hate.
The comment is from Matt. Also, the person she wants to bring into the circle could be Saw. She mentions in Rebels how it was a mistake to bring him in due to how terroristic the partisans are.
That is a good point, because we know Saw doesn't start out kind of crazy.
No.
He gets there.
It could be him. It could be that Luthen wants to bring Saw, and only time will tell which one of them is going to be like, I have to approach Saw.
No, but that is a good point about Rebels. Mon Mothma does feel regret for bringing him in.
Absolutely. So this very well could be who she brings in.
Could be.
And that's instantly regrets.
Excellent point.
All right, last comment. Into the Voids. Love this show. Absolutely love it. Every Star Wars show before this, except maybe Mando, has made the galaxy feel smaller. This show is done on a smaller scale than those shows so far, and yet it makes the world feel huge. The lore they included in this one was just pure fun. I love seeing the Empire operate. I love seeing the rebellion forming. This feels like Star Wars. No pandering, no cringe. Finally a show that trusts the audience. I love the slow burn as well. As soon as it ends, I want to watch the next one. The acting all around has been excellent as well. These feel like real people trying to survive. Real people just living under the Empire. It's hard to explain what I mean by it makes the world feel huge, but just picture Luke coming in later and blowing up the Death Star as this incredible, holy crap, no way thing in the eyes of people like this that have been fighting for so long. It adds to what is to come, not takes away from it like the sequels in Obi-Wan did.
I couldn't agree more. That is a golf clap for that comment because it's perfectly said. Yeah, we'll that perfectly said because that's what I love about it. It's adding. It's it's
By
giving
showing
more
the small details, you're making everything big.
Yeah, it's adding more context to that eventual victory, right? It's just adding, like you said. It's not changing our perspective. And I know Tony Gilroy said you're going to have your, some things are going to be skewed. Sure, okay, maybe that's the case, but that's what I love. It makes the Empire feel like this incredible thing. And like you said, when Luke blows up that Death Star, how many people in the galaxy are going to be like, "Oh my God, we have a chance now! Like we won. We have a big victory against this incredible military might, this galaxy controlling empire."
Well, and it's just crazy to think of all the small details we didn't think about before. Cyril Karn got his entire security group disbanded. They don't work anymore. The Empire took over their job. You think these people are happy? They all lost their jobs to the Empire. How many of them go out to become rebels, possibly? How many of them are going to be seeing that symbol of hope when Luke blows up the Death Star?
Yeah.
There are so many small facets that they've shown us that make this show just blow up, everything around it.
You get to see those inner cogs. You get to see how those bigger wheels are turning. That's what I'm enjoying. It's not just, again, I keep saying it, but it's not just the big picture, the macro scale, and it gets into those finer details. And you understand how could this tiny rebellion, and I don't know, I'm talking of like this, we haven't exactly seen that yet, but it's beginning to show us how a tiny rebellion, how that spark of hope, right, can burn into something that can defeat the Empire.
Right.
All right, well, that is all we got for you this time. So take to the comments below and tell us what you thought of episode 4. Or tell us what you thought of what we thought, or anybody else who we've read comments for thought of episode 4. And let's talk some Star Wars. Or some Andor. And until next time, thanks for watching.